BBC London 94.9 FM. I'm Jumoke Fashola. It is at 7:52. Now, he's debated the existence of God with intellectuals like Christopher Hitchens and A.C. Grayling. And this week, Dr. William Craig is hoping to take on perhaps the highest profile atheist of them all, Richard Dawkins, on his tour of the UK. So far, Dawkins has refused to debate with him, so Dr. Craig's campaign has taken out adverts on the sides of buses in Oxford saying there's probably no Dawkins. It makes me smile every time I say that. Dr. Craig is a theologian and Christian apologist. That means he aims to present a rational basis for the Christian faith, defend the faith against objections, and expose the perceived flaws of other worldviews. The chief executive of the British Humanist Association, Andrew Cobson, is taking part in an event where William Craig is speaking this week, but explains why he won't debate with him one-on-one.
Whereas, for example, people like Anthony Grayling will happily sit down for a conversation, public conversation with the Archbishop of Canterbury, or people like Richard Dawkins will happily sit down on platforms for discussions with the Bishop of Oxford or whatever. They don't really want to engage with this particular person. A lot of people, and you can see the reports of debates online, a lot of people find him slippery and contorted. His arguments are often very obscure, and although they're baseless, they require so much refuting that it's difficult to do so in a debate format. And the general format that he prefers, those one-on-one occasions, often feel like setups, really, with largely Christian audiences who've mainly come to see him, and the format is sort of micromanaged, really, to his advantage.
Well, Dr. William Craig joins us on the line now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Not very good listening first thing in the morning. You are slippery, contorted, the baseless beliefs, etc. How do you respond to that?
Well, I would invite people to come out Monday night to Central Hall, Westminster, and hear my debate with Professor Stephen Law on the existence of God, and let them make up their own mind. This is not an event for a Christian audience, as Andrew Cobson asserted. The format was not insisted upon by me. It was a mutually agreed upon format. Both speakers are given the same amount of time to speak and present his case, and then we'll take open questions from the audience. So this is an open forum, a level playing field on which people can hear both sides of the argument and then make up their mind.
Okay, so it is not that you're going to sit and try and debate each other. You're going to make a presentation. You make a presentation. Your other guest makes a presentation, and then the audience can ask you both questions. Is that?
Well, not immediately. After my presentation and then his presentation, then I do get a chance to respond to his arguments, and he gets then another chance to respond to my arguments, so that there is a series of arguments back and forth, and then finally, after our closing statements, then it's opened to the audience. So this isn't just a kind of one-off deal. This is a response and counter-response sort of format that allows for an airing of the important issues and arguments for and against the existence of God.
And how do you feel about the idea that the audience is weighted in your favor?
Well, that's just silly. These are open public events, and especially I don't hold these sorts of events in churches. These are typically held on university campuses. So I'll be debating, for example, at the University of Birmingham on this trip. We'll be at Cambridge University. I'll be at Oxford University. And so these are typical student audiences that will come to these events.
One of the things we've been talking about a lot this morning, Dr. William Craig, is this idea of faith. And we've been discussing why people increasingly are more spiritual than religious. And there's lots of literature, lots of research going on at the moment, which really does highlight this. Is your purpose to convert people to Christianity?
I think my purpose is to show people that Christianity is an intellectually viable option for thinking men and women today. Too many times we have been told by public intellectuals like Richard Dawkins and others that belief in God is a delusion and that Christianity is indefensible intellectually. And I think that is so far from the case. And so I'm anxious for folks to hear the good arguments and evidence that go in support of Christian theism.
And I've just had the Methodist superintendent whose venue you're going to be appearing in tomorrow, Westminster Central Hall in the studio.
Yes.
And one of the things we were discussing was this whole idea of afterlife, whether there is an afterlife, whether there isn't, whether the world will end. And he was very categorical. He said, yes, the world will end. Now, for many people, that statement in itself seems slightly delusional.
Yes, it is hard to believe, isn't it? Everything seems to be going along quite nicely.
Yeah.
But what I've discovered recently is that in physics, there is actually a very comparable end-of-the-world scenario. Namely, if our universe exists in what physicists call a false vacuum state, there could be a quantum transition to a lower state of the vacuum, a lower energy state. And if this were to happen, it would sweep across the universe at the speed of light, and all of the laws of nature would be transformed. It would instantly change us into an entirely different universe. And this could happen next Tuesday. It could happen tomorrow.
Well, because, somebody's mooting that the world will end on the 21st of October.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, this idea of an eschatological or end-time transformation of the universe is not peculiar to theology. Right. This is actually part of physics. And what's called eschatology, or the study of the end times, is now a domain of physics, physical eschatology. Remarkable.
We're going to have to leave it there, but I just very quickly, has Richard Dawkins responded in any way?
Well, most recently his spokesman have said that he won't participate in the debate because I'm slippery and obscure. But we have a retinue of about 10 excuses that he's used. He's never heard of me. I'm not an archbishop. He doesn't debate creationists, which I'm not. Okay. It wouldn't look good on his CV. Okay. And besides, he's busy. Okay. Well, good luck with it. We'll wish you luck with your tour. That is the Dr. William Craig, who's an American theologian, a Christian apologetic. He'll be at the Westminster Central Hall tomorrow here in London. BBC London 94.9 FM. Time for the travel with Pippa.